Holy Gospel according to Matthew. When Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of King Herod, behold, Magi from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star at its rising, and have come to do him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was greatly troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Assembling all the chief priests and the scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They said to him, "In Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it has been written through the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, since from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod called the Magi secretly and ascertained from them the time of the star's appearance. He sent them to Bethlehem and said, "Go and search diligently for the child. When you have found him, bring me word, that I may go and do him homage." After their audience with the king, they set out. And behold, the star that they had been seen at its rising preceded them, until it came and stopped over the place where the child was. They were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother. They prostrated themselves and did him homage. Then they opened their treasures and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. After having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their country by another way. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
The great British educator, Sir Ken Robinson, recalls the story of three little boys, 5 and 6-year-olds, who played the role of the three kings at their kindergarten nativity play. They came marching in before the manger with paper hats, and each carrying a box. The first boy laid his box before the baby Jesus and announced, "I have brought you gold." The second laid his box before the baby Jesus and announced, "I have brought you myrrh." Now the third boy came down with sudden stage fright, and he plowed through it. Remembered he had put his box down, but forgot his line. So he announced, "Frank sent this." Today's gospel account, it's all about seeing, about vision, about what holds our attention and captures our concerns. On December 25th, we celebrated the birth of the Jewish Messiah, the one born in fulfillment of what the Jewish prophets had proclaimed to be God's promised one. Born of the Virgin, born into David's lineage, Jesus fulfilled all that was promised throughout the many previous centuries about the Messiah. But that perspective was too narrow. God went beyond the hoped-for vision of the Jewish prophets and sent his Son to bring light into the souls of men and women all over the world, to Gentiles as well as to Jews. Matthew, who directed his gospel to the Jews, gave them a much broader vision, one that brought enlightenment, hope, and vision to everyone everywhere. Thus we find mystics from other parts of the world coming to Bethlehem to see something new, something fresh, something offering hope and redemption to everyone everywhere. These mystics or astrologers, seers, these magi or wise men came not only to worship and adore, offering him their homage and gifts, but they came to learn. They came to see new things, to take this message of hope out into the whole world, the broader world from whence they came. And that message of hope, both then and now, is not something based on mere wishful thinking. It isn't a hope based simply upon renewed human energies. It is a hope in what God is doing. The message is a vision of what God is in fact doing. It is God who is at work, not just us. Our new Pope, Francis, is reminding us of that truth. Now, our world is filled with images of 9/11, terrorism, suicide bombs, abuse of children, corruption in high places, and the politics of hate. Secularists and the cultures despise religion, and oftentimes are aggressively attempting to force Christianity into the closet. People of faith are these days frequently labeled as religious fanatics. Our television programs usually do not build up. They often degrade and tear down. And most of the time they simply entertain us, thus diverting our attention away from the highest and the best that is within us. Who can claim that we don't need a change in perspective? Who can claim that the light in which we see things is more than darkness, more than a dark image of ourselves and the world in which we live? Now, attending Mass on Sundays is a good thing. Hearing God's words proclaimed during Mass is something we all need. But to be truthful, that time is only 60 minutes out of each week. 60 minutes out of a weekly total of 10,080 minutes. What fills those moments? What light, what images, what vision-shaping experiences come to us during those minutes each week apart from the time we spend in this church? A mystical star, a heavenly guiding light, lead Gentile astrologers, people who were seers and mystics, to search out, to find and pay homage to the child born of the Virgin Mary. And gold, frankincense, and myrrh were their gifts to him, gifts usually given to kings. Enlightenment, vision, and a changed perspective were the gifts he gave to them. And those are the gifts we receive, not only today, but each and every day of our lives. We must remember that gift-giving is an exchange. One gives, one receives. And the giving one receives something in return. But in order to receive fully, we must have eyes to see what it is that's being given to us and the purpose of the gift we receive. What then is the exchange you experience here in Mass? What are you giving? What are you receiving? And for what purpose? Without seeing and understanding the exchange that occurs at this Mass, it will simply become another of our week's events, just another image of our image-inflated lives. May Epiphany's star lead us throughout the days and the weeks ahead of us. May it lead us to the light of the world, God's incarnate Word in Jesus Christ. And may it fill our minds and our hearts with a new vision, a new purpose for our living here in this beautiful world that is so filled with His glory, a glorious endowing gift. And that gift is placed in each one of us. Amen.